What is up guys, it's Solheim here, back with another Wrath of the Lich King Classic video. Today we are talking about leveling in Wrath of the Lich King, specifically from level 70 to 80, aka the Northrend leveling experience. My goal with this video is to show you guys the pros and cons of different styles of leveling up, and also help you guys find the right way to level up for you individually. So the Wrath of the Lich King Classic beta is in full swing, and people are testing things left, right and center. I've been testing quite a few things myself, some of which I've covered in videos, and some of which I've just reported to Blizzard, as they are minor bugs not really worth talking about in a video, but I've also been testing out things like leveling, and the results were far different than I thought they would be. Prior to the Wrath beta, with prior shady servers, the experience values were way different than what we are seeing right now, which will shake up the leveling meta compared to those other shady servers. The dungeon experience is significantly higher, making dungeon leveling an actual legitimate way of leveling up, on par with questing when it comes to speed leveling, and even farming mobs in the open world is looking like a very decent option if you can find the right plays. So let's dive into some numbers. So without rested experience on a level 70 character, killing a level 70 mob will reward you with 930 experience. Also, without rested experience on a level 70 character, in a group with 4 other level 70 characters, aka a full 5-man group, killing a level 70 elite inside a dungeon, this footage specifically from Asgard Keep will reward you with 1283 experience. Completing a regular killing quest on a level 70 character will reward you with 20,100 experience. So based on these numbers, killing 21.61 mobs in the open world will give you the same amount of experience as completing a whole quest. Based on the same numbers, killing 15.66 mobs inside a dungeon in a full 5-man group will give you the same amount of experience as completing a quest. So let's start chatting. So farming mobs in the open world is most likely going to be the least viable strategy for most of you, but it is actually a viable strategy, especially if you're a class that is good at AoE, aka area of effect damage. For most people, the class that probably comes to mind when I say AoE is mages, and mages can definitely level up this way, but so can other classes. On my Retribution Paladin I can pull 5 to 6 mobs in one pull quite comfortably, and that is with blue dungeon gear, as this is a boosted template character, so anyone with TBC raiding gear can pull even more and nuke them down even faster. There's even a clip from Willy on Twitter where he was AoE farming as a hunter, so this is something a lot of classes can actually do, and there's several places in Northrend where this will actually work quite effectively. The one thing that I will say about farming in the open world like this is that you probably want to find a location that is as far away from the starting area as possible, so you can grind for a while without competition. Personally, I would use this and combine it with a specific gold farm, so I can level up and farm gold at the same time, and if you're looking for examples of where you can do that, I have more than 30 different gold farms listed in my Wrath Classic Gold Guide, which you can find a link to down below in the video description. Now let's get into the real deal here, dungeon farming. This is what I think shook a lot of people on the Wrath beta, as the values you get from mobs inside dungeons were far greater than most people were expecting, and I'm not sure if it's classic numbers being tuned up, or if the private servers had too low values, but if these are the experience numbers that we are going with for Wrath Classic, then dungeon farming will actually become a very viable strategy for leveling up. Dungeon farming is first of all great because if you can get a full 5-man group of geared people together, it is incredibly quick. You can optimize your setup around AoE farming or single target burst around your preference, or a mix of both. Having a good geared tank, healer and AoE DPS can allow for huge pulls inside the dungeon, which in returns allows for huge experience per hour, on par with speed levelers who will optimize their questing routes like crazy, and all you have to do is run some dungeons over and over. Another positive thing about dungeon farming for leveling is that it's incredibly easy. With quests you have to know each questing location or use an add-on that guides you, and even then it requires some thinking every now and then. With dungeon farming it's all almost done on autopilot, and it's also very social, especially if you're 5 people constantly running dungeons together and using a form of voice chat while farming. The last big positive about dungeon farming, in my opinion, is that you can go back and do all the quests later, which will reward you with almost twice as much gold from those quests. Especially if you're playing on the new Fresh Wrath service, that raw gold will be incredibly valuable, as everyone needs raw gold to train spells and mount riding, flying, cold-weathered flying, Dalaran rings, you name it. People need gold, so having the ability to go back and complete all of the quests at max level for even more raw gold is really valuable there. What I will say is that it's definitely worth picking up the dungeon quest if you're planning to dungeon farm, as these are usually located either right outside the dungeon itself or in the city next to it, and they are usually not locked behind lengthy quest chains like they were in Classic WoW and TBC Classic, so you can grab them from the get-go and go straight to the dungeon for some beefy dungeon experience. Okay then, questing. This is probably going to be the leveling method that most people go for, as dungeon farming was mostly used in TBC Classic because of attunements and reputation requirements, so even though dungeon farming is still relevant in Wrath, I highly doubt that there will be as many people doing it. Questing is pretty straightforward and easy. There's honestly not much to talk about, you just pick up a quest and complete that quest. What I will say is that it might be worth skipping through a couple of starter towns in Northrend at launch, as you will be starting at level 70 anyway, and if you pre-complete some quests and get yourself to level 71 before Wrath comes out, you can pretty much skip straight to Dragonblight and start questing there. Remember, since everyone will be questing, there will be a lot of competition, so try to get away from everyone else as fast as possible. When it comes to questing as fast as possible, as well as preparing for Wrath Classic, I do recommend pre-ordering the Wrath Leveling Guide from RestedXP, as this is the fastest leveling add-on and guide on the market. Everyone that I've recommended it to has always been very happy with the add-on itself, and I've only really heard good things about it, plus I've used it myself ever since they made their first version of the leveling add-on. By pre-ordering, you will also get the 70 to 71 preparation guide for free, which will tell you the best quests to pre-complete before Wrath comes out, for the most optimal experience per hour. The entire Wrath leveling guide is built by speed levelers and known names in the Classic WoW community, so it's definitely worth checking out, and you can even test it out for free, so you've got everything to gain and nothing to lose. You can check out the RestedXP through the link down below in the video description. As a last piece of extra information, a lot of classes can actually solo farm inside dungeons to level up at pretty fast speed, and so far the best classes for this are mages, obviously, with their blizzard kiting strategies, and protection warriors are also insane at this, with their survivability and revenge damage, so if you are a warrior or a mage, you could level up pretty fast inside dungeons. And that is pretty much it, guys, a quick breakdown and comparison of the main 3 ways of leveling up in Wrath Classic, hopefully helping you choose how you want to level up. If you enjoyed this video and want more Wrath Classic videos, make sure you are subscribed to the channel, and make sure to give the video a thumbs up if you're still watching this far into the video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again very soon.